Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Chido and this is Chido Starts Up. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for coming through. Please click the subscribe button below before the end of the video. And if you're joining us again, welcome back. Today I'm so excited. I'm actually meeting my best founder friend for the first time, Tafadzwa Munzwa. Hi Tafadzwa.
Hi, Shiro, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm okay. It's really good that we're catching up.
Yes. I actually haven't seen you since I met
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So this is pretty awesome. So just a brief background. I met Tafadzwa, well, I found out about his existence on LinkedIn. I was looking for a guest for my NGO because we have virtual mentorship sessions every week. And I approached him to be a guest and he agreed. Ever since then, we've just kind of realized that we're both really passionate about Africa, about startups, about tech, and just about, creating new things that don't really exist to solve the problems that we have on the continent. So yeah, that's kind of where our friendship has just blossomed from. And I'm so excited that you guys are going to get to hear about how awesome Tafadzwa is. So that I can stop talking. Tafadzwa, please, can you just tell me a bit about yourself, like your background, where you're from, and what are you currently doing?
Okay, thank you, Shido, for that. So my full name is Tafadzwa Kalisto Munzwa, medical student here in Zambia. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, Harare. That's where family is. But I came here, for school. And yeah, I'm really passionate about, tech, leveraging on tech and trying to solve African problems. Yeah, like what Chido alluded on earlier, how we met actually is there's this innovation hub here in Zambia called Bungu. So they posted an opportunity for Unison Youth, where like it's a social enterprise platform and stuff. So they said, look at this platform. If you're interested to apply and all that, you can do that. So when I went to the platform, I was just looking through the alumni and trying to see who's there, what are they doing, all that. Then I saw oh, there's a Zimbabwean name, and it's like Chido Zimbabwe. I was like, okay, this is really cool. There's someone from home in Africa because like it was mostly people from Europe and Asia, America. So I was like, okay, let me look for her, what she does and all that. Then I Googled her name. Then I saw, okay, she's actually pretty dope. She does like good work. And yeah, I sent a request on LinkedIn after that. Then that's when we started talking. Yeah, so basically that's who I am, and that's what I'm passionate about. I'm especially passionate about health.
Yes, that's so awesome, Tafadzwa. And what about Dawa Health? What is Dawa Health? Where did it start? And why maternal health?
Okay, that's a very good question. Most people ask me that. So how we actually started, we didn't start, focusing on maternal health back when we started. It was more of a geriatrics platform. That was the original concept. It was like I have a grandma who suffers from high blood pressure. So I was thinking, I'm a medical student. What can I do to help my grandma, get better medical assistance throughout her hypertension journey and just trying to assist her. So that's how we actually started. Then I sat with a couple of friends. Originally we were three. Then we started thinking around what can we do, to help my grandma, manage her blood pressure more effectively. So we realized that we needed to have a blood pressure machine that was going to get the parameters and all that, then put them through a sort of a mobile phone or platform. Then it's wired to a doctor, and a doctor is able to advise her remotely. That was the original idea. So
Yeah.
we started thinking around what can we do. We started looking at the machines that are available in the market. Most of them, they're the simple ones where you take your reading, they show you the readings, then that's it. Then you have to either record it or whatever. So we started thinking, what can we do to automate the process of sending the results from the device, to an app or to a platform. So that's how we birth what we call the Cardio X. So it's like a blood pressure monitoring device that also does ECG. So ECG is like electrocardiogram that looks at how the heart is working and all the sides of the heart. So that's how we originally started, because people who have like chronic high blood pressure, at the end of the day, they have what we call endocrine damage. They have, damaged livers, damaged kidneys, damaged hearts. Heart being the biggest one. They mostly die from cardiac failure. We call it chronic heart failure. So it's due to the high blood pressure. So the device was supposed to be looking at the heart at the same time monitoring blood pressure, so that we look at how the heart is changing. If she needs like early intervention, maybe a surgery, whatever that needs to be done early. So that was the original concept. So we needed to like buy a lot of hardware, electronics, but we didn't have any money for that. So we had to be resourceful somehow, try to raise the funds. So the idea we came up with, like I come from Waterfalls in Harare, so it was to walk around my neighborhood, just go to each house, house by house, and we tell them, okay, this is the idea we've been working on. You need to raise some capital. Do you need anyone who like needs to wash your car, or maybe you need your loan mourned? I tell you, that was our concept. So we were moving around saying, okay, this is the amount of money we need to raise, but we're trying to raise it. This is the how we're trying to raise it. You want to come through, we mow your lawn or wash your cars, then you pay us. So that was the concept. But the funny thing is, I think when you are that dedicated and you show that kind of commitment, people are willing to give you money without doing anything. So at the end of the day, we didn't even do anything. People were just giving us money.
People like, I believe in you.
Yeah, they're just giving us money, giving us money. Then we were able to raise the whole money without even doing any work. So we
Wow.
were able to ship in. Yeah, we were able to ship in our electronics from China. Then we started prototyping our device. Yeah, we actually filed a patent with African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, which is in Milton Park in Harare. Yeah, we were able to do the whole process. Then after that, now I was accepted under the Bongo Health Acceleration Program. We told them our idea and what we needed to do, where we were seeing the vision and all that. But maybe the problem we had was we didn't have the business aspect of things, because it was just a tech person and the health person. So we didn't really understand how market dynamics work. Who are the willing, who are customers who are willing to pay for the product, users and buyers, that's difference. So when we got accelerated, we realized that, most chronic people, like, they don't go to work, so they most likely don't afford. So someone has to pay for them. And in that process, they're probably old and all that. So they're not really that important. They're important, but, it's not, yeah, they're almost at the end of their life. But so people are not willing to pay as much as someone who's like, younger.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we realized that there was another opportunity, which was like maternal health, because there is what we call pregnancy-induced high blood pressure, starting from about week 20 of pregnancy. So we could literally use the same device on the pregnant mothers so that they're able to monitor themselves, then prevent things like miscarriages and all that. So that's how now we pivoted from geriatrics to start focusing on maternal health. In the process of that, we realized that we were a hardware company when we started, and we needed a lot of capital to be able to start manufacturing and all that. And locally in Africa, there are not a lot of manufacturers to do such kind of work. So we needed to be looking at countries like Philippines and all that. So it was quite expensive. We needed like a lot of capital. So we started thinking around what can we do since we don't have that much capital for now to roll out our system and get mothers, to use all this. So we realized that, we could make a chatbot. That was the first thing we just needed to do. Make a chatbot with simple information. Mothers can ask questions, they get response. Then we made it multilingual. We brought it in Shona, Ndebele, Nyanja, English, and Bamba. Those were the original languages. Then, we realized that, people still need to be online to get that device, to get that information. So we needed to have another offline system. That's how we now came up with the Dawman app, which is like an Android. Now we're working on iOS, so that mothers can simply download the app. It can work offline, and they get like week-on-week advisory app. Then the device gets the information from their body, which is now external hardware. Through the app, they're able to record their parameters. Then it's like sent remotely. So that's how we pivoted from geriatrics now to maternal health. That was the whole process. After acceleration, we realized that maternal health is a really big problem. Because in Zimbabwe, it's like about 10 mothers die every day. But I'm pretty sure it went up with the articles I was seeing during the COVID-19 pandemic, mothers being admitted in a rural hospital without doctors at work and all that. Then in Zambia, it's about 7 mothers who died daily from preventable pregnancy complications. So I think that's how we found our mission, to try to lower that number down. So we have like a 10-year plan to lower maternal mortality in Africa from the current 10 in Zim, 7 in Zambia, to 0 if it's possible. So we're trying to have as many partners as we can, the ministry, than other NGOs and other players in that sector, so that we try to bring maternal mortality down. So now that's what our mission is. And through that process, we also realized that other mothers, like, they don't have access to smartphones, especially in the rural parts.
Yeah.
I was privileged to visit some rural place here in Zambia, just trying to get on ground analysis of what's happening, what do they need, and all that. Then we realized that most of these mothers in these disadvantaged communities, they don't have access to smartphones. So we now have a second model, which is like a USSD SMS application, like how mobile money works. So it's simply star, a short code hash, and you're able to still get the same benefits. So yeah, that's how we got to where we are today. So yeah, that was mouthful, but I think people will be able to just get how we started and where we are today.
Yes, no, I'm so glad that you went into detail with everything, because, the purpose of my channel is so that people can actually get the step-by-step process of how people are starting up really amazing, like, companies like Dawa Health. I think, your goal is so admirable, and the fact that you're not, like, scared to partner up with other people to make sure that, the greater good is impacted is amazing. So well done.
Yeah.
You inspire me, like,
Thank you.
time. You mentioned, while you were speaking, you mentioned some of the three things that I find to be quite important when someone is thinking of, a startup, which is founders, finance, and, like, your footpath. So I want to start with your founder story. Did you start Dawa Health by yourself? Did you have partners? How did that agreement kind of go? And when you guys got to a point where maybe your vision was not aligned, how did you solve that issue?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a very, very good question, because we actually went through that process. It's a very painful process, but I think people have to go it early. We didn't know better, because it was like our first form of business. We've been doing other informal business, but this was like something we were really thinking of taking really seriously. So how we started actually was me being in the medical background. I started thinking okay, I have this concept I have, but I need someone who's in the tech space, because my tech was not that good. I did computer science at high school level, but that was it. I need someone with more advanced skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, because the machine we were using Arduino. It's like a development platform for electronics. I had a rough idea of how Arduino works, the basic programming. But, there were other problems I was facing, so I needed someone with like a deep background. So that's how I got to look for who was my CTO then. Then my childhood friend was coming in as operations, because he has like background in business admin and finance. That's what he did at college level. So we started it like that. We were the three of us. Then we started to look for more people. Then we got another person, was a tech person, to come on the team. Then yeah, and the problem came now when we needed to contribute. We needed to allocate shares on who's going to take what role. But people were willing to let me be the CEO, because I had come up with like the original concept. But now, to delegate on who's going to get this percentage of shares, that was a big problem, because we had not contributed much. It was still like a primary stage of starting up and all that. Yeah, then we just had to, like, how we resolved that was the advice I got was shares are supposed to be given in how much someone is contributing initially. Then also sweat equity is what people call sweat equity. Like, how much are they going to do for the company to be successful without getting a pay? So you have to look at all those concepts. So we realized that, okay, the tech people were okay, they're doing the development, but the product without being sold to people doesn't really amount to much. So the guy was going to be doing operations, which is like the day-to-day, going to looking for partners, moving around hospitals, talking to them, telling them what we're doing. So we felt like, and he was like, he came onto the team earlier. He was the second person who came. He's the first person I went to talk about the idea. Yeah. So that's how we allocated the shares. Say, okay, since you've done most of the contribution, because my dad had to pay for the patent and all that. So they said, okay, we'll give you that. So we'll give you a bit of a higher stack in the original company. Then this guy who came in second as well, who's going to do operations and all that, can get something that's reasonable as well. Then the tech people, they get something that's similar as well. So that's how we originally started. But we realized through the process of that, I thought this guy was going to deliver most of the development according to the scheduled dates. but he was failing to do that. So we started having conversation of, okay, look, we agreed to have this by this date, but you're not coming in. We're doing what we need to be doing from our end. You're not doing your part. So how can we resolve that? Then he was quiet for like a long time. I think for like 3 months, he was not communicating anything. So we were wondering what's happening. Is he working on something? Then he's not telling us. Then he wants to show us like at some day or what's happening. No, we were wondering. Then, after like almost 4 months, someone being quiet, and he just came through and saying, okay, you guys, I have my other commitments. I don't think I'll be able to commit that much, to building this. So yeah, it was really, really painful because, the momentum we had at that time, it was affected for a bit, but we had to move on. So we had to look for another person. So yeah, I was fortunate enough. So now on my second, since I had learned this lesson, when looking for the next guy, I now had, a rough picture of, okay, I just don't need to get someone on the team. I need to look at their previous work. Do they follow through with their work and deliver and all that? So, there's this guy I was just like, he was just an acquaintance here in Zambia. I just, he was running his own startup thing. Okay, I said, okay, so this guy at least is driven enough to be a founder. He understand, some people, because I believe, some people don't make the cut to be founders. They don't really know what it takes until they're in. Then they realize, maybe this is not my thing. The stress, the amount of work, all that. So yeah, on the second guy, at least, he ticked a lot of boxes. He was driven. He was doing his own thing. At least he has a founder mentality. Then I talked to him, look, we have this concept we're working on. You're coming from the tech background. We don't have someone who's that good in tech. So we need help if you're willing to come in onto the team. Then when we started, he just volunteered. He just wanted to be part of something. He didn't even want, shares or anything. He just felt like, okay, this is a really good vision. I want to be part of it. And I was like, okay, cool. If you're willing to volunteer on our team, sure, you can come through. Then he started linking us with, some of the players here in Zambia. Then I felt like, maybe this is the right guy for us. So that's how we got him into the company. So we got him as a co-founder. So the original company we had registered in Zim, we had to change that because some of the founders had left and all that. So we started and we decided that we felt that Zambia was maybe a better place to headquarter the whole service. So now we registered the main company here in Zambia, then made the Zimbabwe as a subsidiary for the Zambian company. So that's we rearranged everything. So when we did that, everything like started flowing quite well. So yeah, that's how we've been able to build the team, and everyone does what they're supposed to be doing, and the momentum we're moving at now, I feel like it's really good. Everyone is know what they need to be doing, and we're working really well. So I'm proud of that. That synergies.
No, that is amazing. And I totally agree with you. When you have a team member, not even just a founder, but a team member who is not really performing and kind of detracting from the momentum, you hit so many more sticking points. And as a startup, you need to keep moving. Like you can't really afford to stop, or else you lose that passion and that, like you're saying, the momentum to keep going, because it's not easy. You have to have the mentality for it. You have to have the grit for it. And moving forward is like the best way to do that. So the next thing that I want to speak about is your finances. So you did tell us how you guys, got like your initial funding, but I want to ask you, engaging with other startups in Bongo Hive and kind of across, different continents, how much do you think someone needs to start an African startup?
I think it depends with the sector as well. If you're trying to be in tech as well, one thing I've been told, you need to be able to bootstrap as much as you can before you raise any financing. So that's one of the biggest goals. Before you try to attract any external investors, you need to, if there are any local competitions you can participate in, try to do that. Get whatever they're giving you. If it's AWS, if it's capital, whatever they're giving you, try to get as much as you can and try to grow the business as you can organically without external investment. Because in that process, you're able, one, to learn financial discipline. Because I feel like if we had gotten investment early before we had done all this groundwork, we're probably going to waste a lot of money because you feel like you now have a lot of money in your bank. You start buying unnecessary stuff. So, during the bootstrap years, you're able to get the discipline of you need to allocate finances to it's really, really critical, and you need to have a really good discipline. So what I have been able to do is our bank account. We co-sign. So me and my CTO, we are co-signers. Why I did that, so that there are no finances that go out of that bank account, without that agreed, decision. Because I feel like I might get tempted if I was the only person who was going to be able to sign and get the money out. I might bet, like I might be, what's the word? It's running away. Um, I might be okay. Like I might be, what's the word? It's running away. But to try to get money out of the bank for not the startup, for my personal use. I might try to get money out and try to use it for my personal use. So that's why I decided to have a co-signer, so that no money goes out of the startup bank account without an agreed function of what it needs to be done and what needs to work for and all that. So that's why we did that, and we've been able to participate in a lot of local competitions. So we've been able to raise a lot of money without necessarily attracting an external investor. So that's how we did it. So it gives you like a good runway before you need an external investment. By the time now we're talking to like proper formal investors, we've done a lot of traction, we've done a lot of work. So now if they're going to give us capital, it's going to go allocated to what it needs to be doing, because we now know what we need to do to grow the business to the next stage, because we've done a lot of groundwork, we've done a lot of partnerships, so we really now know exactly where money is needed. So if someone is going to give me capital right now, I know exactly how I'm going to use it for the next 24 months. So I think those are the initial groundworks you need to do before you try to raise a lot of money. So try to do it as much as you can. There are websites like Opportunities for Africans. Chido actually linked me with that website. They have a lot of competitions. They like post there. Try to apply. Try to get the funding. Try to get AWS, because if you're going to be a tech startup, you need a lot of back end and servers. AWS is a good. They have good security. Their uptime is good. So get. We have been able to get almost like 35,000 now in AWS, which is like really huge. We can scale like the whole of Africa with that kind of server space. So we've been able to get external other grants and all that. So people need to try to do that initially when they're starting, before they get equity investment or loans or that. So I think that's the most important part when someone is starting.
That is really, really great advice. If you guys follow Tafadzwa, you'll see that he literally wins everything. Like he's cracked the code on how to win these startup. So Tafadzwa, I'm actually going to prompt you to please, just write down a list of some of the competitions you've entered, and I'll put them like at the bottom of this video, so anyone who's interested can look out for those competitions. And
Okay.
Is your footpath, so where you guys started with Dawa Health. So from where you started to where you are now, what would you say were the three most important things that you and your team did to grow Dawa?
Okay, yeah, I think the first. Okay, I'll start maybe with what we did to grow Dawa. Then I'll go on to the opportunities after that. So I think one thing we've been able to do as a team is find a real problem. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, but if you're not like solving a pain point for someone, they won't be willing to pay for whatever you're trying to do. So I think that's the first important part. Try to find a real problem. This is like a societal problem, an environmental problem, whatever problem that people are willing to pay. Once you identify it, now use like design thinking, which is like a business model canvas. Try to see how you can bring solutions to that problem. So once you are able to do that, identify the problem, then see possible solutions. You can like build and bring to the market or whatever for that customer base. Once you're able to identify that, I think that's the first initial step. Once you're good with that, then try to look for partners. Partners are very, very key in delivering service. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things because one, you don't have the experience. Two, you don't have the capital to employ other people and all that. So if you are able to strike partnerships early, they'll help you and support you, so that you deliver your service faster. It will cut a lot of time, trying to develop a lot of work. Then also have mentors. I think that's one thing we've been able to do. Get someone who has industry knowledge and know-how, and they have the network to introduce you to. So it cuts down your leg time trying to get these partners and all that if they're able to introduce you. So yeah, get mentors, find the real problem, then try to see on a viable solution that is sustainable. I think that's very important because you can have a very good idea or an excellent idea on paper, but now on delivery, is it going to be sustainable? Like, does it work long term and all that? So I think those are the key areas people need to look for. Once you solve that, I think everything else goes into place. And find the right team, find people who complement your skills. So yeah, I think that's very important. Then on some of the competitions we've been able to win, now there are a lot. So I'll try to just do a rundown of those I remember. So there's ACT Entrepreneurship. It's a Zimbabwean competition and stuff. So they like support early stage businesses and even business on growth stage. We came runner up for that. They're based in Milton Park as well. Then there was a COVID-19 challenge by Impact Hub Harare. We won that for Zim. Then then here we actually the concept we applied for that, we're still developing it. So we really feel like it's something that's going to be big in Zim. So we're still working on that. It's totally different from the maternal health thing, but we're still working on that. Then here in Zambia, we won ZICTA, which is like Zambia Information and Communication Technology Authority, ICT program. With the runner-ups, they're giving us financial support, technical support, and everything we need to scale our maternal health service. Then we also won the Bongo Hive accelerator program. Actually, we were the people's choice when we participated. We've been able to win PrEP Organization International, which is like a Canadian competition. We've been able to win Size Boost Up, which is like Southern Africa Innovation Support Program. So it's being run in South Africa, Zambia, Tanzania, Botswana, and Namibia. Then, the finalists from all these countries now, they'll come and compete at continental level. Then, they get support from the Finnish embassy and all that. We were able to win that. We were recently selected, actually yesterday, to perform in the Japanese competition. So we're still waiting for that. It was another good thing. Just waiting, fingers crossed. Yeah, so it's been quite a lot of things we've participated in. We also it's not been a lot. It's not been a lot. Yeah, but people can look up such things and just apply, and try to see what they need, improve on their concept notes and whatever they improve on their pitch. And once you're able to do that, you're able to grow your startup.
That is amazing. I really, really love your drive in applying for these opportunities. So one of the things that, I've noticed about you as well is that you are running a startup in 2 countries at the moment. And I wanted to find out what are the benefits and what are the disadvantages of doing that. Because, obviously for a lot of people, it's easy to just start up in one place and then start expanding. But then clearly you saw an opportunity in, working in Zambia, working in Zimbabwe, and I'm sure you have plans to work in like all of Africa.
Yeah, okay. So while we actually decided to do that, it was not like a default decision. The reason being was some of my co-founders are in Zim. So when we started early on, we had to learn on how to do remote working, even way before COVID-19. So we learned how to be able to effectively do remote working. So when we realized that, okay, we can actually do remote working, we're using platforms like Trello, chatbots, and also Messenger and all that. They're able to communicate effectively, delegate tasks, and people were delivering their tasks. Whereas, okay, so it's actually possible to have a team that's working, from different geographical locations. So say, why not, try to be implementing the same services at the same time in Zim and Zambia. So that's how we got to that position. But with the COVID-19 now, everyone is starting to learn that, but we learned it way before that. So I think, I think that's why we seem like we're performing really well, because we'd already established the baseline of how to do remote working. So we are able to manage, the company both from Zim side and from Zambia side as well. So yeah, that's how we've been able to do it.
Wow, wonderful. So I'm going to look at my final questions because I don't want to forget anything. I wanted to just make sure that people get all of it. So yes, I wanted to ask you, what opportunities are there for young people in our countries, Zambia and Zimbabwe, where, economies are still, like growing. There aren't a lot of like formal work. There's not a lot of formal work for young people. Even in entrepreneurship or starting a business, the whole tech thing, there's a lot of digital illiteracy in these countries. So even if you want to do something tech related, there's a lot of groundwork you also have to do to get people to be comfortable using it. So what opportunities do you see for people, young people?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. So for me, I can start with opportunities I see in my sector, in my immediate value chain, but I can also go to other sectors as well. So I'll start with health because I feel like we don't have as much players in health as yet. I feel like it's the same in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. Why? Maybe it's because there's not been a lot of support for our sector. Because if you look what governments have done for agri-tech and financial fintech, it's been a lot. They've opened up a lot of opportunities and they tried to brought in a lot of partners to support a lot of startups in that sector. So here in Zambia, you see that you have a lot of startups in the fintech and agri-tech space because of that. But now that we're having conversation with like influencers in the sector, like Bongo Hive right now is trying to talk to the Ministry of Health so that we start getting that kind of support from the ministry, so that we have a lot of innovation coming into the health sector. So some of the opportunities I see are things like chronic diseases. I'll give you an example of diabetes. If people can find a solution of helping diabetic patients, monitor them, how they're going through their hypoglycemic, hyperglycemic periods, able to manage and take in their all that, that's a great opportunity because now diabetes is on the rise in Africa, especially. A lot of people are becoming diabetic. We need a solution that's helping people in that sector. We also have other chronic diseases, like high blood pressure. What we're initially trying to solve. There's a lot that can be done. There's a lot that can be done to support such patients. There's also things like mental health. I feel like there's a lot also that can be done in that sector. Either some digital health sort of platform or somehow try to educate people what mental health is, what more can be done for that sector. Then there's also things like non-communicable diseases, your malarias, your TBs, not those ones. Non-communicables are like your heart failures and all that, cholesterol and all that. A lot can be done. Then also infectious diseases. So there's a lot that can be done in just the value chain. Looking at what we're doing, and there's also medical supply logistics. We're buying in a lot of equipment outside the country. All that someone could innovate, try to lower down the cost, try to find ways of bringing all these equipments, medication without high cost and all that. So there's a lot that can be done, especially in the health sector. So I want to see more players coming in, because if it's like an ecosystem approach, I'm guaranteed that we're likely going to be successful because you have a lot of support that's supporting what you're doing. But now, if you're an isolated player in the sector, it becomes really difficult because you have to have a vertical kind of expansion, try to cover a lot of value chains. So that might constrain the resources you have. At the end of the day, you might not be successful as a startup. So I want to see more players in the health sector. But there's a lot that can be done outside the health sector now. Yeah. Places like agri-tech in Zim, I feel like there's a lot that can be done, especially helping small to medium farmers, like those guys. Either bringing in things like extension officers, bringing in predictable. Here in Zambia, there's a startup that's using artificial intelligence to actually detect a disease that's been crop. So you simply take a picture of your plant or your crop. If it's sickly, then it's able to tell you the diagnosis of that. So they tell you, okay, this is like aphids. You can get your nearest agro dealer and use this kind of medication. So, in Zim, we need something like that. Even in South Africa, I haven't seen it. In Africa, I think they're the first to do that. So there are a lot of technologies that people can leverage on now to try to bring in more services. And, one platform I feel like is really going to be big is Africa is Talking. Why I say that, it's because it's allowing developers to bring in kind of voice applications, SMS, USSD applications. And Africa, most people, especially in the marginalized communities, they don't have access to smartphones. So if people start to develop platforms that can work like how your mobile money works, it can really scale really fast because the value chain will be really big for people, especially in the marginalized communities. So I recommend people to look at Africa is talking and look at opportunities, whatever sector they're working in, try to bring in services that can work on the USSD platform. If you are able to do that, you can change someone's life who is in the most remote and marginalized community of wherever you think. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities we need to be doing. We need to be like covering here in Africa. So yeah, those are my mouthful, 2 minutes words. But yeah,
No, thank you so much. I'm sure like anyone who's looking to start something or even just getting inspired to keep going with their idea will definitely get some gems of knowledge from that.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you 2 last questions. Number 1, what are your aspirations for yourself as a tech entrepreneur? And number 2, what do you have or what do you think you have to make you capable of achieving that?
Yeah, okay. I think for me, our biggest aspiration as a team, we want to grow biggest. We want to grow the biggest health tech startup actually, but that's too big, too ambitious. But yeah, man, that's what we are. We are a very ambitious team. But initially, we want to build the biggest maternal health platform in Southern Africa.
Yeah.
So that's our immediate goal. We want to build the biggest maternal health. After that, maybe we can expand into other players, maybe chronic disease and all that. But for now, we're focused on maternal health. So that's our immediate milestone we want to achieve. And maybe what I feel like we have that can help us achieve that. We have the resilience. That's the biggest thing. We're able to figure out things, and we're quite resourceful as a team. Coming from different backgrounds, everyone being able to bring in whatever they're able to bring into the team, and using that, we're able to accelerate a bit fast. So I think that's what has helped us as a team to achieve what we've been able to achieve and continue like achieving. So yeah, it's the drive and understanding everyone's skill sets and leveraging on that. And now we're trying to expand and grow the team so that we become even more effective and more faster. So I think that's what we have. I don't know. I think that's our competitive advantage. Because having the most difficult, thing you can solve as a founder is forming a perfect team. Once you're able to do that, almost everything becomes easier because you're working together as a team, leveraging on each other's skills. So if you're able to figure out that problem and solve it, get the right teammates on your team, you'll be good. So I think that's what we have. That's our biggest resource.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Tafadzwa. Do you have any other last words you want to leave with us today?
Yeah, I think I do. Africa, I think we need more entrepreneurs than people who want to take the 9 to 5 job. Reason being, we're now having a lot of graduates from colleges and all that waiting to get a job from someone else. But if we get the entrepreneurial mindset into people, we're able to create more jobs. Africa is the fastest growing continent in the world. A lot of people in the next 20 years are going to need jobs and all that. So if we start now, we're able to create future jobs for the people, and we're able to employ our own people. So yeah, we need more people who are doing what we're doing. So the support is coming in, the financials are going to come in. People don't have to worry. A lot of venture capital firms are now starting to open branches in Africa. So
Yeah.
I think that it's a good thing. They're able to now see the opportunities that are coming up. So we need to start having more people, getting into entrepreneurship, learning the skills, what it takes, early, if it's possible, early 20s, mid 20s. If you're able to do that, by the time you're 30 mid 30s, you're a seasoned entrepreneur now. You're able to create a big organization by then. So I think that's very important because the generation our parents was coming from, it was a bit different. Most people were getting into employment for a very long time, so they didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. That's why we are where we are today. We don't have a lot of African organizations that are employing Africans. So yeah, if you have a great idea, keep building on it. A lot of assumptions you're going to make initially are going to be wrong, but you have to keep an open mind, learn from people who've done it, get mentorship. You get it right at some point. You just get it right. Just keep working on it. You figure out, So yeah, I think for aspiring entrepreneurs, that's the thing. Keep at it. One day, you're the Africa. You're the future Africa we want. So yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much. I'm sure we can all see why Tafadzwa is my founder bestie. He just just gets it. So thank you for tuning in to Chido Starts Up. Please make sure to click the subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.